President Cyril Ramaphosa has tested positive for COVID-19. In a statement late last night, the Presidency says he's receiving treatment for mild symptoms. Ramaphosa started feeling unwell, we're told, after leaving the state memorial service of former apartheid President F.W. de Klerk in Cape Town yesterday. He is said to be in good spirits, but is being monitored by the South African Military Health Services. Ramaphosa, who is fully vaccinated, is in self-isolation in Cape Town and has delegated his responsibilities to Deputy President David Mabuza for the week ahead. Let's stay on this leading story. The Presidency says Ramaphosa and the South African delegation on the four-nation West African tour were tested for COVID-19 in all the countries they visited, and they tested negative. He also tested negative on his return to the country from Senegal last week. Newzroom Afrika senior reporter Tumaole Mohlaoli has been covering that tour for us, and he joins us now via our phone lines. Tumaole, if you can hear us this morning, tell us about, the COVID protocols that were in place during that West African tour just last week.
Good morning, Michelle. Indeed, the COVID protocols on the West Africa tour, I can attest to the fact that they were quite stringent. Before exiting a country, we had to be tested. That is before exiting South Africa. We had to be tested, and depending on your results, that's how you would get onto the flight to West Africa. Also, upon entry in the host nation, you had to be tested, and that was in Nigeria, the first nation that we touched down in. And once the results got back, in fact, the results got back pretty quickly, we also were kept very, very, very tight in terms of the media delegation. We were always marched up, and of course, the regular protocols everywhere we went, including, washing our hands or sanitizing. Everyone was issued a sanitizer at every spot we went to, including, the hotel. There were sanitizers as well as regular temperature checks, including at at the official function. So the protocols were quite tight, and there was really no room to veer away from them. So it has come as quite a shock and quite a surprise to hear the news that broke of President Cyril Ramaphosa, testing positive for COVID-19. And we do a speedy recovery, and I'm sure he will bounce right back. But in terms of all, protocols, they were followed, and everything was pretty tight. I can attest to that.
Yeah. And Tumaole, according to the reportage around that West African tour that the president undertook over the past week, there were incidents of other positive cases in his entourage during the trip, and they had to be separated. They had to be removed from the delegation.
Indeed, we did receive information that some people did test positive, but they weren't necessarily in the entourage that was traveling with us. I can call it the inner circle or such. Some of the people that had tested positive, from the information we received, were some people that were in a forward detail. Some of the people that were ahead to prepare the protocol, to prepare the trip, to prepare the ground, so to speak, before the president arrived. And they then went into quarantine and self-isolation as per World Health Organization protocol. So there was really no scare, so to speak, or any news of any inspection in a circle that we were traveling in. As I said, the circle was kept strict, and all protocols were observed, and the testing was done regularly. And I can say that they make sure they go right into the nasal cavity when they're doing the test. In other places, they test you by taking a swab from your left nostril, your right nostril, and your throat. So it was very, very thorough, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Just quickly before we let you go, Tumaole, are you now in self-isolation, given that you were in the president's sort of entourage during that trip?
Well, in terms of the results that I got upon return, my results were negative. The news is just broken, so I'm going to get tested as soon as possible as well. to find out what the situation is and what my status is. But I have not, shown any symptoms, and I will be then awaiting my results, test results, to find out what the way is forward. I will go into self-isolation should my results come through positive. That's definitely the protocol I will follow, and follow all other health department protocols as well.
Yeah, another nasal swab on the cards for you, Tumaole Mohlaoli. Thanks very much indeed for that update. The President testing positive for COVID-19. Tumaole Mohlaoli, our senior reporter who was on that trip with the President on that four-nation West African tour.